Further debate? Member for York-Simcoe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I'm pleased to have a few minutes in which to discuss some of the implications around Bill 122. First of all, I think that the basis of this is formalizing a provincial role in the bargaining process. And historically, unions would have negotiations going on with their corresponding board, and if the negotiations reached a certain impasse or a certain point in time, then the Federation was always in the position to call for a vote, which meant that the provincial negotiators actually came in and took part directly with the negotiations between them and a particular board. So in essence, the unions have had provincial bargaining for many, many years. They just did it on an individual basis. And of course, this allowed for negotiations to include certain benefits in one part of the province that were not in another part of the province. And very often, as time passed, those particular benefits would then find their way over in a later bargaining between a different board and its teachers. So in fact, for some time, the provincial oversight by the negotiators for the unions has always been there. The board is not in the same position, and so now we have the province in that role where it is now sitting at the table. And I think that it's important to understand sort of the way in which this has morphed from local communities with local leadership making decisions for the locality. So this is a process bill. It deals with this particular process and modernizing, I think most people would agree, the process. But I think that for many of us, we would like more. We want more than a process bill. This is a ministry that has a $21 billion cost, $21 billion per year for the Ministry of Education. It's interesting to note that since 2003, there has been an increase of that budget by $8 billion more, with 250,000 fewer students. So if people are expecting a results bill, this is not the right one to be looking at. And it's a bit disconcerting, again, because you look at international test results, and they indicate that in fact, Ontario is in a decline in student achievement when compared to other jurisdictions. And you know, when I listened to the Minister of Economic Development and the Minister of Finance talking about the innovation that's just around the corner, it makes me a little nervous because I think that's dependent on having those kinds of test scores that place us in that international league. In fact, the Higher Education Quality Council of Ontario has recognized that there's a gap between the expectations of those leaving secondary school and their arrival in post-secondary education. And obviously, that's a huge issue that universities have commented themselves on students not being well prepared for post-secondary admission. So there's a lot of work to do if that, you know, in following up on that. So as I say, it's a process bill, not a results bill. And I think that when you look at things like Regulation 274, it's really unfortunate that what we are looking at here is something that should be the power of the principal. In fact, I think hiring should be the principal's prerogative. In my experience, people purposely looked for a variety of qualified staff. They looked for a variety, a panoply, if you like, of talent, of interests, of experiences, of teaching style, of age or ethnicity. And I think that it's designed in the way that they can expose students to the fullest possible range. Why? Well, because teachers are role models, they are mentors, and different students learn differently. Different teachers have different teaching styles. These are all something that should be taken into account. And the notion that it should be based on one criteria, that of seniority, simply falls in the face of the whole idea of a principal being able to put a staff together that will reflect the best interests of his students. It's also something that allows him to have what I refer to as the mild eccentricities of individuals. And I think of one particular case where I know that that's how some people would have described this particular teacher. But one of the things that struck me was that she inspired kids who would never have stayed in school without her. And it's those kinds of opportunities that I feel are overlooked by taking such a narrow approach in this regulation. And I think back on the kids who would have been influenced by this particular teacher. And then there were the kids who were influenced by a phys ed teacher, and they would stay in school for the football season. But then they sort of got hooked a bit, and they would stay for the rest of the year. Those are the kind of people that we want teaching our children. Those are the kind of people we want representing us. And age has nothing to do with that. And I guess I mean seniority has nothing to do with that. I recall a colleague of mine who was a World War II veteran. And the stories that she could tell students and the experience that she brought to the teaching experience, she probably would have her job on the basis of seniority. But that's not the point. The point is what she had to offer to students. And I think that in every school, everyone should be able to see themselves as being part of that puzzle, of fitting into that jigsaw puzzle to make the complete picture. In order to be able to inspire young people to take whatever direction in their own personal lives they can find that they can move forward and be successful. Teachers have a very unique opportunity, and to be able to provide that kind of leadership in the community, that's the ultimate of the principal. As I say, principal's prerogative. He's the one who should be putting those pieces together in such a way that his students will be, their needs will be best addressed. There are many examples of teachers who have provided that kind of leadership, but it's always on the basis that some people are going to thrive on one person's teaching style or leadership, and other kids are going to learn better from someone else. You can't make it regulated on the issue of seniority. Ontario students deserve better, and if we want that innovation and we want those scores, we have to do the very best, and the very best is hiring the most suitable. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.